Hello everyone, welcome back to ErikaBuilds and another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are back in the world of Glimmerbrook working on the fourth lot that is called Brooks Bridge Burrow. And the house that was originally here is just a small starter home, which I have demolished. And I was looking for something online, like scrolling through images, trying to find something that looked kind of rustic, like a cabin. I had a lot of requests lately for smaller family homes. And since this lot, had the starter house on it, I thought, well, maybe this would be a good location to do like a house for a smaller family. Plus, I haven't done a cabin in a really long time. So I thought it might be fun to do that as well. And here now you're seeing at the corner of the screen the reference photo that I used for this build. And basically, yeah, when I was looking through, I wanted to find something that was a cabin that would look good in like a mountainous area, but that wouldn't be too big, even though this cabin actually turned out to be a lot bigger than I intended for it to. In fact, the proportions of living space to bedrooms is kind of ridiculous because the living room and dining room and kitchen are really, really big. And then there's only 2 bedrooms. So I don't know. It's hard for me, you guys, because I build a lot of gigantic houses for all these big families with all these kids and stuff, and it's hard for me to build small things and not get carried away. But anyway, hopefully you guys will like this house. The walls are the wallpaper. I have done the cabin wallpaper that we got with Outdoor Retreat. It's not one of my favorite wallpapers, but it's really the only one that looks realistically like a cabin would look. So that's why I chose it. I started out with this kind of dark, almost reddish brown swatch, but then later you'll see I actually changed it to the more like medium brown color because I thought this one was maybe just a little bit too dark. But one thing that I thought was interesting about this reference photo was how the house had this really, really big front like slab of stone, which was really weird because it looked like what you would expect to see in the backyard, not in the front of the house. And basically it had like this fire pit area and all these chairs and stuff. And I'm not really sure why it was made like that. Maybe there's no backyard, which actually makes sense because if it's in a mountainous area, maybe it's built on like a cliff side or a ravine or something. Maybe that's why they had to put it all in the front. But anyway, I thought it was kind of unusual and different and something that I don't usually do. So that's why I decided to try to recreate that. And then here you just see me working on the chimney, which I just expanded the size of that stone chimney, which is the only stone chimney that we have. All the other chimneys in the game are brick. And so I always feel like I keep using this one over and over and over again, but it's the only one we have, so there's nothing I can do about it. But when you when you make it one click bigger, it actually looks really nice on these sort of rustic builds and cabin type builds. And now the windows in this house to me look really strange because the cabin itself is very rustic and the windows are very modern feeling. If you go back and look at that reference picture again, you'll see that basically I got the idea, right from the photo that the windows did not have any grids. They were very plain with a black frame. And so I ended up using mostly base game windows and a couple of things. I think it's a mixture of base game and maybe get to work, I think. We don't really have a lot of windows that don't have grids because when you think about rustic builds, usually I think about seasons. That's kind of my go-to window for rustic, but those all have grids. cats and dogs, sometimes I use that for rustic, and those all have grids as well. And so I ended up using these. You guys will have to let me know what you think about these windows. I don't know, I'm still kind of torn on if I really like them, but it was the closest that I could get for the recreation purposes. Here for the back of the house, just see I'm kind of starting to work on that. And I didn't have a picture of the back of the cabin, so I just kind of improvised. And here you can see I'm trying to find a door that would match these windows, which there's only really one door that's that height, which is kind of unfortunate because we have those base game like sliding doors, which would have been pretty to put there, but they're not the right height. So yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle working on the doors and the windows. But in the end, you know, I think it turned out okay. So now that I'm inside the house, here I am working on these gigantic rooms. Really, these rooms could have been divided off differently, I notice all this stuff after the fact, especially when I'm making videos, and I'm going back and I'm watching the decisions that I made about the floor planning, and I think really this kitchen and dining room is way too big for a 2-bedroom house. But yeah, it is what it is. And then here I was working on an L-shaped staircase that comes upstairs to a landing that has a passover where you can see down to the first floor. I did a house back last year. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was some kind of mountain home, rustic mountain home or something with mountain. I can't remember the exact name, but I did these 2-story windows, kind of like this atrium that overlooked the mountains. And I just really love that concept because I feel like if I lived in the mountains, I would definitely want to have as many big, tall windows as I could to see the view. So the view from this cabin is just gorgeous. I tried to get some screenshots of it at the end that you can see just how beautiful the view is from this lot of the mountains. So yeah, so then once I put in this L-shaped staircase, this is one thing that really is annoying, is that when you put railings on stairs and then you try to do a landing railing on the second story, the railings intersect and make this cross pattern where they're all blinky and weird, and it really bothers me. I don't like that. So what I ended up doing is I took the railings out completely and just did the railing, or the fencing type railing on the second floor. And then for the first floor, I used a combination of walls and half walls with a column. Here you see I put the column there, and then I kind of put the half wall against it. So that way it wouldn't be like an open stairs where it looks like the railing is missing, but I didn't have to have that intersecting area at the top of the stairs. So yeah, hopefully you think that looks okay. So then outside, the reference photo, I went to the website, and the house is called a post and timber post and timber package or something. You can actually order this house online and they will ship it to you to build. I don't know, it's really interesting. And so the selling point is that these houses have these timber beams, and so I used these little decorative pieces from Get Together to kind of simulate where those timber beams would intersect around the front porch and then also in the eaves of all the roofs. So yeah, okay, so now I'm back inside working on the kitchen. Since we're still in Glimmerbrook, I decided to use the Glimmerbrook, these Realm of Magic counters again, because all the houses that I've built so far in this world have had these counters, and I kind of like that because it makes the world itself feel kind of consistent. Even though the 4 houses that I've built, I feel like are very different from each other. They kind of have these like commonalities where it identifies them as being like from this world. Does that make sense? And so that's why I decided to use these counters again. This is the same swatch that I used in my my last Glimmerbrook build, which now I can't even remember what it was called. But yeah, so it's like this very, very dark brown with like a charcoal gray sort of countertop, and I really love it. And then I matched it with the black upper cabinets, which are base game. And then all the floors are Outdoor Retreat, and then the walls in here are from Jungle Adventure. So yeah, so this kitchen is probably ridiculously too big for a small family with only 2 bedrooms. But I do like big kitchens, and I think, you know, you can have a small family and live, you know, in a nice big house. I mean, that's okay, right? And so even though the family is small, they do have really nice living space, really spacious and large living areas, which are nice. So maybe they have a lot of extended family, maybe they have a lot of friends, maybe they're in a lot of clubs, they have a lot of people over all the time. So yeah, it can come up with an explanation. Okay, so here I will apologize. There is a time skip because I stopped recording and then I came back and I forgot to turn it back on. That's like the 3rd time I've done that this month. I'm really sorry, but you only missed 2 rooms. You missed the living room and the dining room, which that's why I slowed it down there for a second so you could see what I did. But for the living room, I decided to go with like a dark blue. And then for the dining room, I went with green, kind of like a moss green. So I'm still trying to keep it, you know, fairly rustic. I use a lot of stuff from Outdoor Retreat in those. And then this is the bathroom on the first floor, like guest bath. And it's also very dark with lots of browns. And it's kind of a funky shape because I was trying to wall off the staircase because of not using the railings. And so the bathroom ended up having like this little like hallway sort of like entrance to it, but it still works. And then I ended up having kind of this little extra space outside of it. And so I decided to make it like an indoor porch, which seems very cozy and fits well for like a mountainous area. When I think about the mountains, I always think of the winters being so cold and harsh and so much snow. I've mentioned before on the channel that I did live in Colorado previously. And so, yeah, so I was thinking an indoor porch would be nice because then even when the snow is piling up outside, you have this kind of like nice indoor area that would get a lot of sun because there's a lot of windows here. And I put some plants and stuff. So yeah, I think it's kind of a nice little cold weather area to just kind of relax and enjoy the sunshine. And this furniture is from Laundry Day. And I just use like various plants and things to, I don't know, just kind of bring the outside inside. And the rug also, that is from Laundry Day as well. And then I shifted the door over just to kind of give a little bit more room there. So let's see. Oh yeah, and then I was trying to find something to hang, and I remembered that we had those little signs that we got in the holiday update last December, and so I put those there. And then at the top of the stairs, I ended up having this like landing where it looks over into the like there's like a look over? Is that what you call it? Overlook? I don't know. What do you call it? I don't know. There's a rail upstairs that looks down into the first floor. And so I ended up putting a bookcase up here and just a couple of pictures because I don't really know what else I could do with that area because I had to keep it open enough where you could still access the upstairs balcony. So there's a door. So when you get to the top of the stairs, if you go to the left, there's a door that takes you out to that balcony area. And then here is the master bedroom, which is in the front of the house. And I started out with this bed from Outdoor Retreat, and then I don't know, I got to thinking that I didn't really like it that much, and so I swapped it out for this bed from Seasons, which I just felt like looked more comfy and just nicer. So yeah, this room is blue, and even though it's a small bedroom, I mean, it still had room, I think, for everything, you know, that the Sims will need. I had room to put a little chair in the corner, and you know, there's not much up here. There's just a chest and a couple of bedside tables and a mirror and all that kind of stuff. A lot of this stuff, again, is Outdoor Retreat. The lamp and the dresser, and then the mirror is from Jungle Adventure, and then the 2 bedside tables are from Seasons. So yeah, it's a mixture of stuff. And then the chair I ended up putting in the corner is actually from Cats and Dogs. So yeah, this room ended up having a lot of packs. That's why when people ask me, like, what packs do you use? I'm like, I don't know. I just use all packs. I can't stop myself. Yeah, so one thing that I forgot until I was getting ready to upload this to the gallery was that I didn't give the parents their own computer. There is a computer in the child's room, but there wasn't one downstairs. So I ended up at the end putting an extra laptop downstairs at the kitchen bar because they have a really big bar that had a lot of stools. So I thought, okay, that'll be a good place to stick the computer. And then these bathrooms ended up being kind of funky shaped because when I expanded that chimney to make it big enough, it's like sticking through the wall. And so I kind of like walled it off, and I had to do it at like this weird angle. I don't know. It was like the only way I could get it to fit. And so it made the bathrooms kind of unusual, but I don't know. It's fine, I think, because it gives the house a little bit of kind of a distinct look. And then the second bedroom here is the child's bedroom. Again, just keeping it very cozy and warm and having that sort of cabin like feeling. There's a lot of green in here, which to me feels very much like Outdoor Retreat. And that bed is from Cats and Dogs. And this child also has their own bathroom, which is nice. So there's not a ton of space in here, and it is kind of an odd shape. So this kind of one segment of the bedroom has the bed and the dresser, and then the other little segment has the desk with the computer. And there's a few toys in here and just, you know, kind of your typical kids' room decor. But yeah, that's one thing about this house is like when you have these sort of like steep gabled roofs, you end up having kind of pretty cramped quarters upstairs because you can't really expand the rooms and keep the roof, you know, in the right shape. So they're a little bit small, but like I'd been saying at the beginning of the video, I have had a lot of requests for houses for smaller families. So hopefully this will be good if you have a family with maybe just like 2 parents and 1 child, or maybe 1 parent, 1 child, or 1 parent, 1 child and a pet, you know, like any kind of small combination of 3 Sims and a pet or so, or less, I think would fit really nicely for this house because you're going to have plenty of space downstairs for all your gameplay purposes, and then not as many bedrooms to have to worry about to fill with a lot of kids. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for today's build. I hope you guys like how it turned out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date with all of my latest builds. I'll be doing some more homes. I've got one more lot here to build on in Glimmerbrook, and then I'm also working on an idea for a new apartment build. And I have a new episode of the Parade of Homes coming up here in a couple of days as well. So stay tuned for more. And I hope you guys all have a really great weekend. It's Friday, yay! And I will see you all again next time. Bye-bye.